How can we truly come together? Only with this spiritual knowledge, not by mental, physical, or financial knowledge. We can never find the oneness in any of these areas, nor in the name of country, race, creed, community, money, or education. The only way to see everybody equally is in that divine vision. Then we see the same truth, colored different ways.
So you see, we are looking at spirit. Humanity is looking at a way out of pain. Humanity is looking for answers. For answers, how to get through this life. Because literally all of us have battles in our lives. And more than ever, it's not only battles with our lives, it's battles with our world. We're getting such mixed messages that there's all these battles, all these thoughts. Take away our peace, our sanity. So as yogis, we must establish a deep connection to the divine source, whatever you want to call it. A deep connection. So when the waves come, we don't drown. And we have a responsibility, really. I feel really strongly about this, We have such a responsibility for the next generation because they have no grounding. And there are too many suicides at the moment. I'm sure you've all heard of so many yourselves, but I've heard of too many, just not right, because there's no grounding. They just see dark, 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 and they don't see light. So as examples, we can show them, hey, there's light. You got it wrong, It's kind of like Michelle last night, house flooding, wrote, and I go, not again. She just got it fixed. And then she writes, house flooding or house blessing. Do you see? Different mindset. And then, all of us start laughing. It's the way you look at things. And when your mindset changes, your life changes. Yes, of course, you still have the hassles, a pain in the neck to get the plumbers and to get everything fixed. But once you detach a little bit from that feeling, which is what we're going to cover today, that feeling of, I have this big problem and it's happened to me again, and gets, kind of swamped by it, there's no way out. There's just heavy suffering. But when you can look at it and go, yeah, but it's not going to get the better of me, that's real renunciation. It's not in the big things, it's in the little things in your life. Well, I think flooding is big, by the way. It's happened to me so many times in my life that now it's funny. It actually is funny. And this is why when bad things happen to good people, they say, why only do bad things happen to good people? I tell them, bad things happen to everyone. But we are attached to our good actions. So we feel that we do something good, we should have good in return. Sorry. The good is already there in your action. You don't have to expect anything in return. It will come. It will come when it's come. Sorry, I'm being very honest. The good is already in the action, and this is what chapter 5 is about. Remember, chapter 4 was about the Yoga of Renunciation. What is renunciation? And Karma Yoga. And now chapter 5 is just about the Yoga of Renunciation. Now, really keep in mind what the word yoga means here, because you cannot understand renunciation if you don't keep reminding yourself what yoga means. So what does yoga mean to all of you? Do you remember?
Union with God, connection.
Union with God, connection with the divine source, whatever you call it, connection with cosmic energy, connection with your guru, whatever you call it, connection. What does that connection do for you?
Peace.
Correct. If that connection should give you peace. When you have peace, you are connected. When you don't have peace, you feel disconnected. When you don't feel connected, you suffer. You get angry, you get fearful. All those things happen in your head when you're disconnected. So the yoga of renunciation is the idea that yoga is a practice, okay? It's a practice to get connected. To know that you are the witness of the mind, that you are really not your thoughts. And you all know this, but we keep going out in the world and people telling us all the time that we should be negative. I had somebody speaking to me the other day and she said, all my family think I'm spiritual. I'm crazy because I love this path so much. They think I'm losing it. I said, don't worry about it. Lose it. What makes you happy? Tell your family, when I was on the other path, I wasn't happy. And you saw that I wasn't happy. Now I'm on this path, I'm happy. What do you prefer? Me to be rich and famous, or do you prefer me to be happy? I'm sure any parent will say, I want you to be happy. So this is a constant battle when we work for the strength of the divine in us. And this is what real renunciation is, really letting go of people's expectation of us, our expectations of ourselves, the world's expectations of us. The only thing we need to keep in mind is the golden rules of yama niyama: non-violence, truthfulness, non-greed, non-stealing, and all these things, moderation. Keep reminding yourself, this is what I need to do in my life, and then you will be guided. So renunciation is not as tough as it sounds. Okay, we'll start with chapter 5 then, the Yoga of Renunciation. Arjuna, the student, asks, you seem to be advising both renunciation of action and the performance of action. Is one better than the other? The Lord answered, both paths lead to freedom. Of the two, karma yoga, selfless action, is better. A true renunciate neither hates nor desires anything just for oneself. Freedom from such dualities of mind bring liberation, Arjuna. Unlike the wise, those with childish attitudes try to distinguish between the paths of wisdom, jnana yoga, and selfless actions, karma yoga. Whoever becomes well established on either path receives the fruits of both. What does it mean? Here, Arjuna, the student, is asking the teacher again and again. It's constant repetition before you get it. Today they call it neuroscience. Repeat it again and again and you'll finally get the message. And this is what spiritual knowledge is, You repeat it again and again, and one day you go, it didn't affect me, yay! I'm free, oh my God. And that is such an incredible moment. And it's a process, right? So he's saying, you seem to be telling me, first you tell me renunciation, then you say karma yoga. Karma yoga is doing the actions and expecting nothing in return. Which is better? And he goes, they're both good. Jnana yoga is using your intellect, right? Using your mind to analyze. Why is life the way it is? Who am I? What is death? Why was I born? What is my mission in life? Who am I really? Who is God? What is God? What is divinity? What is consciousness? But that's using the mind. He says they're both good, but karma yoga is better. Selfless action. Why? Why do you think karma yoga is better? Because if you're a jnana yogi, you can be so involved in the mind that you forget the teaching is we're all one. So in karma yoga, your work is dedicated for the service of mankind. And you are not thinking it's only for my benefit, but you think it's a benefit for all, including me. Remember the win-win situation? What is a perfect action? Gurudev told us. A perfect action is one that causes no harm to anyone, some benefit to someone, yourself included. So many of us feel guilty when we don't want to do something to please someone, and we do it and we hurt ourselves. That's not win-win. Okay, so this helped me a lot in my life. So when you're talking about renunciation, when you're talking about giving up, when you're talking about it's nothing. It just leads you to freedom, nothing more than that. And here he says, a freedom from such dualities of mind. So what happens in karma yoga? For example, you do a job, you expect something in return, which is most people, most of us, at least I was there before I started yoga. Everything I did, I wanted a thank you or acknowledgement, right? So and life will teach you, you don't get that. You may give your entire life to your kids, and when they grow up, they suddenly might go their own direction, right? Oh, but I gave everything, the mothers go, and they don't want me. And you go, sorry. Your expectation has made you miserable. As a mother and a father, your job is to do your best. Now, that you spoiled them, it's not their fault. That's probably why they run away. Do you know? So you have to look at the deeper issues in life. So here he's saying again, when you do karma yoga, you do it without the desire for acknowledgement or receiving something in return. That's a tough one. So how do you do work in life? Always look for something you love. That's what I tell all the young people. You know, you're going for the money, you're going for the fame, you're going for the job. Go for the love of your work. I don't know what I love, Nalanie. Okay, talk to me. You know, do you like to paint? No. Do you like numbers? Okay, you like numbers, okay? What do you like? Oh, I love the way they look, etc. Do you like accountancy? Never thought of it. Do you like working with computers? No, not really, but I love numbers. So I said, think about accountancy, and where else could you use tax, man? Do you know what I'm saying? It's not judging the job, but judging what you love to do in life. And if you love what you do, then 6 o'clock comes and you don't think it's 6 o'clock. You're just doing your work. Go, oh, I have to go home, but I love my work. I leave it behind. I'm also not attached to this. But you love to get up in the morning. You're inspired. You're joyful. So this is what I would say. When you do karma yoga, you do it for the love of it. And I think I've told this story many, many times, but I will tell it to those who haven't heard it. I think many of you on Zoom haven't heard it, and some of you here have. Many years ago, when I first started teaching Raja Yoga, I was only 39 years old. And I remember I'd given up my Wednesday morning, which was my time off work, to do my art classes to teach this science. I loved my art classes, but I couldn't take more time off work. So anyway, nobody knew this. I did it because I really wanted to, I thought, right? It's how subtle, you learn how subtle your feelings are. So, but when I started teaching it, I thought people would come 1 week and they'd never come back, but they came back. So I continued doing it on a Wednesday. Did this for 6 months and loved it. I really did. And people were benefiting and they didn't want to stop. But what happened? Christmas came, right? And Christmas came, and I remember I went home and I said to my husband, very upset, I didn't even get one Christmas card. I was really upset over Christmas cards. And I thought about karma yoga. Of course, I was very young then. And then he goes, why are you so upset? You don't get upset about everything. I said, but I gave everything and I didn't even get one card. Even that thinking I gave everything and I didn't even get that card made me miserable. Oh my goodness. I went and when I saw that, I really understand. I don't want anything in return. How can I be so attached to one thank you note, you know? That makes me miserable. Nobody else was miserable. I was still happy, same class, everybody's still joyful. Now, I think, because the next season I got too many Christmas cards. Too many gifts, no gifts. I don't want anything. I really don't, you know? I'm so rich. But I needed that lesson to watch my own mind think. And that was essential for me. I think the gods worked into all these wonderful people's minds, not to give me a card for Christmas, so I could learn that huge lesson, because there was still an attachment. Do you see? Even that little attachment, I didn't get a thank you, makes you miserable. I don't really care. I don't even need a thank you because I love what I do. love me, great, and you don't want it, also great. Do you know, it's such a good feeling. You feel free. But karma yoga takes you there. Now, if you're doing jnana yoga, and this is why Lord Krishna says karma yoga is better, because you get these lessons. And it's important to get the lessons in life, not from books. It's difficult. You can read everything, you can know everything, but then you all know this. Something happens and boom, you can't deal with it because you got it all here, but you haven't got it in your learning, in your experience. So when you have the pain in life, then you realize, oh my God, this pain happened and I managed to get through it. I'm really quite strong. The moment you feel quite strong, you like yourself more. You respect yourself more, and guess what? You get the power from the divine. There's a strength that comes from within you, and that's when you know there is, for me, I call it God, but a power of energy. Whoa, it's not mine. Where did it come from? I couldn't do this, but who's looking out for me? Kind of thing. And you feel this. You genuinely feel, I'm not alone. I'm really not alone. And then, of course, then when you study jnana yoga, you also have the same realization. So here he says, unlike the wise, those with childish attitudes distinguish between the paths of wisdom and the path of selfless action. So he was saying that really, that's childish. We can only do the path of wisdom and don't do the karma yoga side, right? So here he's saying, whoever becomes well established on either path receives the fruits of both. And then, here I explain it again so you understand this really deeply, okay? Many years ago, I read the life story of Swami Chinmayananda. Chinmayananda was a journalist during the Raj period in India. And he was an incredible journalist, and he was like, he wanted to be recognized by the British, so he thought he looked who had his own people, the Indian people. So he thought all this spirituality stuff is, pie in the sky. So he decided to do a piece on Master Shivananda, the guru of our guru, Swami Satchidananda. Because he had heard so much about it and said, oh, these people are going to this yoga teacher, who is he? Anyway, he goes there, lives there for a month. And he falls in love with Master Shivananda, a jnana yogi. And he, for the first time in his life, he went into his heart. And he was supposed to go back. He threw away all his lawyer's clothes, his everything. He wore the white robe, and he stayed. And he stayed with Master Shivananda and got initiated with him. But Master Shivananda said to him, Swami Chinmayananda, now you're Swami Chinmayananda, you need more. Your brain needs more. So there is another great master who's a real, perfect jnana yogi. Study more with him. And if you read Swami Chinmayananda's version of the Gita, is very intellectual. It's so intellectual. I mean, it's brilliant, but many people cannot understand it, right? So that's why I choose this one, because everybody can understand this. But he is there for people who love all this, the words, the intellectual words, using their minds. He's perfect for those kind of disciples, and those are the disciples he have. And Swami Satchidananda is our master, is more loving, more down to earth, in the sense he understands the normal human being. So people who like that will come into this path of love. You see, it's everybody has a teacher that they need. That's all I'm saying. But he fell into his heart, and he realized that eventually the jnana yoga and the karma yoga are one. Because through selfless service, when you serve people and you feel really happy with your job, like you, Francesca, talking about these kids that you love, she doesn't stop. She teaches children from 4 to 6. Should we bring her here? The way she teaches. She hasn't stopped talking about those wonderful, oh, Nalanie, you need to meet this one. He's so cute. He says this. And I just want to go back to hug them, Is it true or not?
It's true.
And I go, oh my God, she really loves those kids like her own. right? Her own. And that's the way teachers should be, right? I love my job. There's this family feeling of one, okay? So that's what he says. So he says both jnana yogis and karma yogis experience the same heightened states of consciousness. Because once you start to see that the truth is we're all one, and when we work in this energy field, we are in heightened states of consciousness. We are in a state of gratitude, right? We're in a state of gratitude. I am so grateful that I have this job, or I'm so grateful. So when you're so grateful, you connect with the source, and you're in higher consciousness. They see clearly who see jnana and karma yoga as one and the same. 6. The state of renunciation, sannyasa, is hard to reach, Arjuna, without karma yoga, the performance of selfless actions which purify the mind. Anyone who meditates regularly with a mind made pure by karma yoga soon realizes God. So he's saying, if you really, when you work, at the same time of your work, you must also meditate. Why? Because in meditation, you're going into the world beyond this dimension. And also you can watch your mind think. And you can see, like, if you were doing karma yoga, like me, because I was meditating, I could see very clearly that that not having that Christmas card made me miserable. Now, if I didn't meditate, I wouldn't be able to see that very clearly and realize, oh, Nalanie, don't be such an idiot. You know, what's wrong with you? You're upset over a Christmas card. Do you know? And really found it funny the following year. And then I got tons. So, but you can see it. Otherwise, what happens is if you don't meditate, you can't see it. And then you suffer, and then you feel bad, and then you go into a downward spiral. But when you're meditating, you watch it. You can say, oh my God, this is the thought that made me sick. Okay? So that's what he's saying here. And your selfless actions, and you can see it, it purifies your mind because, oh, wow, I'm so grateful for this, so things are not as bad as they seem. And that's what you start to realize. As your mind becomes pure through karma yoga and well-disciplined through meditation, the senses quiet down and you see that your own self is none other than Atman. Atman is the higher self, God, Jesus, Gurudev. At that point, you are no longer subject to karma. When your mind becomes clear through your work and discipline your mind, your senses become under your control. That's what happens. So, for example, you smell something delicious. In the past, you'll say, I'm just going to have it and eat it and eat it. But when you meditate and you're able to say, I'm watching this thought. It's delicious. It's not good for me. I don't need the next biscuit. You can control it. You have your senses under the control. And then you feel really good. You see, I thought it, but because of my meditation, I'm able to see it. I'm able to witness it. And as I'm able to witness it, I am able to stop it. And that is a good feeling. Okay? Knowing you have control of your senses gives you freedom. And then, what happens? You're not subject to karma. What is the karma that you will get if you don't have this control? You see that cookie, you eat it. It's delicious, you have another one. You have 3 or 4, and then you go, oh, I wish I didn't have it. And your karma is getting a headache or stomachache or feeling bad about yourself. You're subject to karma. Do you see? But when you control it, you don't have that karma, because why? You didn't eat it, you don't have the bad effects of it. See, in simple language, this is what it means, so you understand it. Next. By identifying with your true self, you will be a sage, seeing clearly that it is not you, but the senses move among the sense objects, even while seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, walking, sleeping, breathing, speaking, letting go, holding on, opening and closing the eyes. You think, I am not the doer. Now, here he's saying that with this practice, what happens is you just have developed the ability to watch your self.
This means that whatever happens through the body or even the mind, it's just the senses functioning through the sense organs. You know all those actions are happening, but you're not affected by them. You realize that you are just the knower. You're like a person sitting in the movie theater of your body and mind, watching the whole show, and not just things outside you. For the knowing, even your own body and mind are somewhere outside. It's as if you're surrounded by a sort of cinerama with not just one screen, but screens all around, and you're constantly watching. If everything goes smoothly, if there are only nice heroes and heroines, then you'll be looking for a villain to come. Why? For tempo changes and some suspense. Only then is the movie really well written.
Right? Because many times when all of you, you're working, especially when you're working on your own. We're lucky we have a Sangha here. When you're working on your own, it's really hard to distinguish because you can get lost in a messy world. And it's these little things that you think, oh, why me? And you can easily fall into the downward spiral. But if you're constantly reminded, then you won't fall in again. Really, this is just life. Happens to everyone. Good luck, bad luck, who knows? For me, that is my favorite story. Whenever my mind goes anywhere, I go, good luck, bad luck, who knows? Flooding, blessing, who knows? Sickness, good health, who knows? All I know is that at this moment, I can't control anything. I can only accept what is, so I'm going to accept what is. Done. No more nonsense. You have control of your senses. And here he's saying, it's your senses that drive you outwards. And then that's why I say when something happens, don't speak to too many people because they also scare you. Oh, you did this and that one, you didn't do anything about this and this and this. And then you get, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, what's happening to me? Everybody gives you the advice that they think is best for you. Oh my God, that's really scary. So tell only a few people that you really trust. And when you get into that energy of, good luck, bad luck, who knows, the divine works through you. It just works through, and you'll be surprised the miracles that happen through that. Because nobody can make the miracle happen to you. It's you that makes the miracle happen to you when you connect with that, you see? So when you recognize that, really, good luck, bad luck, who knows? You're not bothered. You're just living this moment now. Now I'm okay, so I'm going to do the best with now. Of course, as human beings, the thoughts will come at the back of your head, but you're able to control it. Doesn't matter. It's just thoughts. It's just a thought. It's not me. I am not the doer. There's a higher power working through this, and then you feel strong. And I'd like to tell you that a simple exercise that Gurudev wrote in one of his books, and in the early days, I practice this every day. But now I do it once in a while when I remember. And it was a simple thing, like going into your shower and saying, I'm washing the Lord's hair, I'm washing the Lord's hands, I'm washing the Lord's body. It's not mine. It's really what St. Paul said. We are but temples of the divine, right? He said it so clearly, we're all temples. So if we can say it's not ours, it belongs to the Lord, then what happens? This practice makes you feel, wow, I really need to look after myself. But at the same time, I don't need to be obsessed with myself. And I'm grateful for myself, helps you appreciate the divine in you and know that you are not the doer. You're just the instrument that has to look after the body that you were given. Because you were given this body. You didn't, at a certain point, did you choose it or not? Your karmas did. Your actions chose your body. So we'll go into that later. It covers everything in the Gita. So here, again, he keeps... Now, listen to Lord Krishna, the inner teacher, constantly repeating again and again and again the same thing, just to tell Arjuna, it's not easy. This knowledge is not easy. I understand. But really, this is the truth. He goes again, whoever lets go attachment to the fruits of his actions and instead dedicates his actions to God is not touched by sin, like the lotus leaf is not touched by water. And he always used the lotus, right, flower, to be the example in all spiritual things. You see the lotus flower, right? So actually, and is it what happens is as you become the yogi, you become like that lotus flower. The roots are in the mud, it's in the rubbish, right? The dark in the mud, but doesn't matter, you still come out like a flower. Okay, so, and when you come out with a flower, no darkness can touch you. When they use the word sin, I like to change it to darkness or obstacle, because the sin in the Christian world has been so used as, ooh, you're a sinner, you know, that I find it uncomfortable. I don't believe anybody is really a sinner. It's just life makes you the way you are, and you do bad things, right? Dark things or light things. A yogi abandons attachment to results. To purify himself further, he still continues to work with body, mind, intellect, and senses. So now that you understand this teaching, you don't stop working. You continue. You know, many people, when they got this, they don't want to work anymore. They want to go into to hibernate or be a monk and not do anything anymore. So I don't need to do any, I'm enlightened. So, no, you still got the body. You still need to use your body. And you still got the intellect. This is all your instrument. You still need to use it. By steadily letting go fruits of his actions, the yogi attains peace. But the unyogic person, motivated by personal desires, is bound by his attachment to his fruits. Okay, so you're motivated by personal desires. Is it wrong to have personal desires? No, it is not wrong. It is wonderful to have personal desires, but don't let them control you. So I have this goal. If it comes, great. If it doesn't come, also good. It means something better is happening. But don't let it control you. Also, when he talks about personal desires, it's just for me. I want to be happy just for me. I don't care who gets hurt in the process. Okay? Because most people have desires. They don't care who gets hurt in the process. Wow, interesting, right? So this is a story that life teaches you. This is why Gurudev said to me, and I'm telling you, make life your book of spirituality. You will learn a lot just by watching, listening, awake. Everybody is God. Everybody teaches you something, either good or bad. Everybody teaches you something, because everybody is God. And this is what you start to realize. So, wow, what am I going to learn from this person today? You know, or what am I not going to learn? Which aversions do I have? Which attachments do I have? You start to see it. It's really clear. By mentally renouncing the fruits of his actions, again he's saying, the yogi's mind becomes disciplined. Thus he knows himself to be Atman, happily abiding in the city of 9 gates. This is called the city of the 9 gates, right? 2, 1, anus, and the other part, ears, That's your 9 gates, by the way. It's good to know that. So this is the city of 9 gates. You know, we can exit the body from any of these gates. He knows that he is not the doer who acts or causes to act, right? So you know this is your temple, these are the gates, and then you know, like you witness yourself as if you're watching a movie. So, well, you're an actress, so you know that when you act, you take the role of a person, and you take the role. You're not that person, but you take the role. And this is what the yogi does. We can witness our actions. So if we can see our actions, we can see, okay, I decide I'm going to do this. I want to change this part in the play. Oh, my house got flooded, don't like this part. Okay, so I'm going to change it. My house flooded. I am going to bless it. Fun, okay? Again, new floors? Why not? You know, what about I'm learning, this has made me strong, I'm going to be this part in the play that I am strong and be the example for everybody else. Do you see what I'm saying? You decide your part, because then who's the one that allows me to suddenly do all this? Was in the past I couldn't do it, and now I can. I'm not the doer, right? So there it goes. The Lord, the indweller, does not directly create forces that move in the world or anything that happens here, nor is he in any way affected by them. Nature does all this. The Lord, who is omnipresent, does not measure anyone's virtues or vices, because inner wisdom is veiled in ignorance. People therefore are misled and err. In other words, like I said, no, God punishes you. There is no punishment. He said, look here, it doesn't do anything. You think, oh, God is going to punish me because I did something wrong. God's going to reward me because I did something right. Rubbish. He said, it's all nature. It's all your action and reaction. What you reap is what you sow. It's all part of the goodness. It's all part of nature. And the God is just consciousness doesn't punish any of you. So when you think like that, you're making a big mistake. You're making a big mistake. Because if you think I'm a sinner, what will you do? You keep repeating that lower self-esteem. You think you're bad. You got guilt. And say, oh, God, why did you put me in this situation? Here, saying, God never put you in that situation. Get up and fight for yourself. You know, you are much bigger than that. God in you is divine. It's strong. You can do it. This is what he's saying here. When you know who you are enlightened. In that self-realization, the darkness of ignorance disappears in the light of true knowledge that shines like the sun, revealing the Supreme. So when you get this knowledge, it's like suddenly, it's like the sun. You know, you can see the truth of everything. You can see life as it is. You can see life as a play. You really can see it. And then you say, oh my God, this is really kind of like a cosmic joke. Is it? But I wanted this joke because I keep recreating my karma. If I want to get out of this joke and get liberated, I don't want to do this anymore. I can decide now to know that I'm not this mind, I'm not this body. I am one with consciousness, and I'm tired of this planet. I'm going to move on. And then you become free in this world while you're living, because you see the whole thing. You don't take anything seriously, you don't take anything personally, there's no God punishing you, there's nobody punishing you, it's just life. You start to say, it's just life. It's just the way it is, and I chose to be here. And life is going to bring good times and bad times.
Those who continuously think about that self merge with it and settle into it. Whoever holds this as his goal will no longer be subject to rebirth, because self-realization dispels any remaining flaws. Those who have realized the self see that same self equally in a humble scholar, a cow, a dog, or a dog-eater. When you see the stainless unity of God, Brahman, everywhere, you become established in Brahman and rise above the constant changes of this world.
When you become established in the Absolute, your understanding is without doubt. There are no delusions. Those who have realized Brahman are not excited by pleasures, nor do they suffer from that pain. Here again, he's repeating himself. You are not, once you know that, you are no longer, that ball that is being thrown around, right, left, the mind's going crazy. You just become strong and you stay in one spot while the world is moving from side to side. It's like watching a rough sea on a beautiful sunny day like this. You are still, and the sea is roaring, and you see, it's so beautiful, right? The sea is actually going nuts, but you're watching it, you're not concerned, you're just seeing the beauty in it. Same way, your mind may be going crazy, but you're just sitting and watching the waves of the mind. Wow, interesting. My mind's gone really nuts today, isn't it? Interesting. And you can watch it. And then when you can watch it, you can laugh at it. When you let go attachment, 21, to the external things, you will delight in the bliss of Atman, the true self. Persistent meditation on Brahman, the infinite, brings a state of uninterrupted joy. After a time, good luck, bad luck, always joyful. What can you do? You can't change things. And this is the inner joy that no material thing can give us. We cannot find this outside, because the outside world will constantly bring us problems, So if you think the outside world is going to please you and bring you everything you need, you're in trouble. You have to go inside. This is what it says. Go inside, find the divine within, get your inner strength, and then you will know. Pleasures that come from sense contacts, Arjuna, actually are the womb of pain. A wise person does not delight in pleasure that comes and goes. You know, you will not be, once you know this, you will not be attached. Like if a good thing happens to you, right? You get so excited, a good thing's happened to me. The difference will be, you'll be so happy the good things happen to you, but you will not be attached to it, because you know tomorrow something else may happen. So there's no more expectation. This is renunciation. It's a good thing happened to you, you've enjoyed it, but you no longer have to have it or keep it. You know, Sri Patanjali tells us this in Raj Yoga 2. For a man or woman of discrimination, all things are painful. It's not depressing. It's just that once you start to understand the way life is, you'll realize that when you want something and you get it, the moment you get it, you're fearful of losing it. And then you start fearing all the other things that go with it. And you go, oh my God, I don't really know if I want something so badly anymore. Because I got what I wanted. You know, I often talk about it with men with great cars that they have. They get the car of their dream. The moment they get it, there's a little scratch and they're miserable. They have to pay big bills for petrol and everything. And all you hear is, I pay so much for my gasoline and this. And you go, why did you get the car? Do you know? This is what happens. You got what you want. You should be happy, but don't be attached to it. You could get a scratch on it the next day. So when you're wise, you start to realize, I'm not going to get so overexcited. While still in a human body, if you can stand fast amid the forces of desire and anger, then surely you are a yogi destined for happiness. So stand firm, because what's going to get you? What are your waves? Personal desire, anger. Why didn't I get it? Why did this happen to me? Why is this? Why is my family like this? Why is this? Why is that? You know, those are the two. Watch them. Because when they come to your mind, and they always will for the rest of your life, but when they come to your mind, you see it immediately. And the more you see it, the quicker you let it go. Oh, I'm not going to stay with this thought because it's going to make me miserable. Look, I know it comes from desire, and I know it comes from my anger. So I need to work on myself. So you just work a little harder. No big deal. Meditate a little bit more, study a little bit more, spend more time alone with yourself, go into your heart space, put some nice music on, walk on the beach, go into the forest, get your space with God, nature, time. That's your healer. That's where you go. The yogi who discovers happiness and joy within is also illumined solely from within. The yogi becomes one with God and marvels in the ecstasy of God. So you have your own happiness inside. Those who have realized the unity with the Absolute are the sages, from whom sin and doubt have been dropped away. They have transcended the dualities of nature and delight in the welfare of all beings. Now that you know who you are, you're no longer afraid of life, and you now use your time to just help other human beings, or the welfare of all beings. Lust and anger naturally drop away from those who successfully renounce attachments to their fruits of the actions. With their minds now calm and controlled, they easily realize the true self and enjoy the bliss and oneness of God. By withdrawing attention from external things, mentally focusing back between the eyebrows and equalizing the in and out breaths, pranayama, thus you control the mind. Breathing to control the mind. We keep talking about it. Breathing is so important. You control the mind, the senses and discernment, buddhi. Then by aiming for nothing else but absolute and unconditional freedom, moksha, personal desires, fear and anger naturally drop away, and you undoubtedly experience the final liberation. And this is what Master Shivananda and Gurudev always said. Just do the practice, no expectation. Do good, be good, meditate every day, look after yourself, exercise, look after the world. Just do that, practice the yama niyamas. Just by doing that, lust will drop away, anger will drop away, and you'll be surprised. How did they drop away? I didn't even struggle, I didn't even try, but automatically, because you are that. So all the things that you are not will drop away from you naturally, because your lust and your anger are all based on your personal desires. And once you know you're much more, those desires will start to go in the background, and you will look more for the peace that is God. And that's what you'll look for. Oh, I will maintain my peace no matter what. And then you will be in that state of joy always. Whoever knows me as the Lord of self-sacrifice and asceticism, as the master of the universe, and as the friend of all, reaches the state of supreme peace. So, once you understand that we are just instruments, you will get that peace. I just like to read this last thing to you from Gurudev. All these steps in meditation are connected with each other. If you do one, the others come automatically. So whichever is easy for you, begin that way. Either detach from external things if that's easy, or fix your mind on a chakra if that's easy, or on your breath, incoming and outgoing breath, or control the senses, control the mind, control the intellect, or cast away your desires, fear and anger, whichever is easier for you. They are all different links to make the chain. By pulling on one link, you get the whole chain. So that's why I tell some yogis who, Nalanie, but I can't meditate sitting down. I can meditate by the beach. Do it. Do it. Because you're struggling to sit down and you just can't do it. You can't do it. You just agitated. You're lost. You haven't realized the divine at all. So if walking by the beach gives it to you, who says that's not okay? One-pointed. It's quite lovely actually, watching the waves. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. And then you go into the motion of the earth, the motion of the divine, the motion of God. Without breath, there is no life. And then you start to see many things that you haven't noticed before. So long as you're in a quiet place, this is really important. And in a place by yourself, you need that. Because constant noise from other people's voices and what they think even mean doesn't help. You need to have quiet time. Nowadays, there's so much on the internet. And I know so many yogis that spend the whole day listening to all the great speakers. And they're great speakers. There's so many out there. I tell you, hundreds. But your mind is like thinking non-stop. So you go to bed and it's da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, more thoughts. What we're trying to do is just be still. Just do good, be good, love your life, live simply, serve, love, give, purify, meditate. Having all that knowledge gives you such a bad headache in the end. I love that you want to learn, and it's important, and like I said, there are great speakers out there. But if you like one, keep at that one and keep listening, because you will get that energy of that person. But I know people listening to 5 or 6 in a day, different speakers, and then they're getting very, very confused. And these are intelligent people. So don't confuse yourself. spend that time, if you can, just looking out or just sitting on your chair enjoying a nice cup of tea and saying, oh, this tea is so delicious. Thank you, God, that my body can enjoy this tea. I can sit and just enjoy this cup of tea. That's all. It's so simple. And that peace that you will get with a cup of tea is worth hours of the agitation of the mind. Because you're enjoying it, you're living it. That's what we're all here to do. And when we understand this, we can live. You live a normal life, you look like everybody else, but you're free inside. Oh, you will go and chat with everybody like everybody else, but you're free inside. You just play, you put the mask. Like I say, when I'm a granny, I put a granny mask, you know. When I'm a teacher, I put a teacher's even clothes and mask. When I'm a partner, I put a partner's mask. You know, you just put those masks, you have so much fun. But how can I put each of those masks to the best of my ability? Where I cause the least amount of suffering and the most amount of joy. I've put my friend's mask, I put my silly girl mask. I can do that, I put my dancer. You know, I love music. So, yeah, you just live life each moment because I'm not the doer. I'm just going to play the part that I've been given. And then if the part changes, fine. Do you see? We put yogis in boxes on how they have to look. You don't know. Okay, look at what the person's life is and then you know. Look at your life. How are you living? And you know. You know that you know that you know. And when you know that you know that you know, you can go and teach. But even better than that, people will come to you whether you want it or not. Okay?